In the late 1950s, a quiet teenager named Harry Webb transformed into the dazzling Cliff Richard, a figure who would come to define British pop culture. Barely 18, he was suddenly thrust into the limelight, becoming a symbol of youth, hope, and the future of music. Fame hit him fast and fiercely, with screaming fans, constant press attention, and a life that moved at a relentless pace. Yet at home, he was still the same shy boy, navigating the responsibilities of adulthood while keeping the persona of a star intact. The pressure to maintain this public image was overwhelming, and Cliff had to quickly learn how to balance the demands of fame with his own sense of self. His transformation from Harry Webb to Cliff Richard was not just a change of name, but a leap into a world he was not fully prepared for, one that demanded far more than any teenager could naturally give. Discipline over indulgence. As fame surged, Cliff Richard learned the importance of control. The public expected him to be a British Elvis Presley, clean, charming, and rebellious, but safe. Cliff embraced this role without resistance, understanding that longevity in the industry required discipline over indulgence. He was careful with every public appearance, every gesture, and every interview, recognizing that fame would demand more from him than just his talent. Privacy was something he fiercely guarded, not because he was shy, but because he knew that the more he revealed, the less would remain for him personally. The relentless schedule of touring, recording, and performing left little room for indulgence, and Cliff learned to thrive on routine, structure, and restraint. This discipline not only protected him from scandal, but also allowed him to preserve his sense of self in an often chaotic world. The price of fame. While applause and recognition were intoxicating, they often reminded Cliff Richard of what he lacked: normalcy, intimacy, and peace away from the public eye. Fame brought with it an overwhelming sense of emptiness, especially in the moments when the stage lights dimmed and the fans went home. He found solace in discipline, but this also became a barrier to deeper connections. The love songs that had once reflected his own desires now became a way to shield his heart. As he became one of the most recognizable names in pop music, the pressures of fame pushed him further away from personal intimacy. He realized that while he could achieve everything the world saw, there would always be limitations on what he could experience in private. Fame gave him everything except the one thing he wanted most: a genuine, personal connection with another person. Love that could not be public. Curiosity about Cliff Richard's private life was constant, and fans eagerly speculated about the woman who might capture his heart. Yet, behind the scenes, his experiences with love were more complex. His first serious relationship, with dancer Delia Wicks, was filled with affection, but ultimately couldn't withstand the pressures of his career. They had dreams of a quiet life, away from the spotlight. But Cliff's relentless touring schedule made such dreams impossible to realize. Despite the love that existed between them, he found himself unable to commit fully to a life outside of his music. Delia later wrote a letter expressing her continued affection, but also her acknowledgement of the impossibility of waiting for someone whose career and discipline took priority. This letter became a painful yet poignant reminder of what he had gained and lost in his pursuit of fame. Living a life of choice. Throughout his career, Cliff faced constant scrutiny about his personal life. People speculated, asked questions, and tried to fit him into their own narratives. But Cliff remained steadfast in his response, often with grace and humor, acknowledging that his choices were deeply personal and did not need to be justified to the world. He recognized that mystery invited projection, and that his life would be defined by his actions, not by the curiosity of others. He chose a life of service, friendship, and faith, finding fulfillment in areas other than romantic love. While others might have focused on finding a partner, Cliff found meaning in his work, his music, and his commitment to his beliefs. The life he built was one of purpose, not defined by the conventional expectations of marriage or family, achievements and legacy. Cliff Richard's legacy is one of generosity, faith, and dedication. 6 decades of music, charity, and personal integrity have defined his life, offering a model of success that goes beyond fame and recognition. He achieved greatness without compromising his values, maintaining his sense of self despite the temptations of celebrity. His love was expressed through his music, his friendships, and his commitment to helping others. He remains an enduring symbol of grace, proving that peace and fulfillment can exist without the traditional markers of success, such as marriage. His life teaches us that happiness is not defined by societal standards, but by the relationships we build and the purpose we pursue. Enduring principles. Even as time has softened his steps and features, Cliff Richard's commitment to his principles remains unchanged. He continues to perform, share his music, and engage with his audience, embracing each day as an opportunity to live authentically. He reflects on his life with no regrets, knowing he did exactly what he was meant to do. Through restraint, faith, and devotion to his art, he has built a life that is rich with meaning and satisfaction. Cliff's story is one of patience and perseverance, a reminder that a life lived with purpose and integrity can be just as fulfilling as one defined by convention. A life fully lived. Cliff Richard's journey is one of clarity, discipline, and enduring faith. In an industry obsessed with fame, he held fast to his values, choosing a life defined by music, faith, and meaningful relationships. His life is a testament to the idea that love and fulfillment do not have to come from traditional sources. Through his friendships, faith, and commitment to his craft, Cliff has shown that a life lived fully is one rooted in purpose, not societal expectations. His legacy will continue to inspire those who value integrity, discipline, and the quiet strength of living according to one's beliefs. Love beyond romance. Cliff's story also teaches that love can exist beyond the confines of marriage. His deep friendships, some lasting decades, demonstrate that profound connections do not require romantic fulfillment. He experienced love through loyalty, trust, and shared purpose, building a network of relationships that provided him with joy and meaning. Through these bonds, Cliff discovered that love is not limited to romance. It can be expressed in many forms, providing fulfillment and support throughout a lifetime. The quiet strength of conviction. Cliff Richard's discipline, often misunderstood, was a conscious choice based on his faith and purpose. His resistance to the pressures of fame allowed him to maintain his integrity and peace, even as the world around him buzzed with curiosity. Through decades of public scrutiny, Cliff remained steady, navigating the highs and lows of his career with grace. His quiet strength and commitment to his beliefs provided him with a solid foundation, allowing him to thrive without compromising his values. Legacy of a pop icon. Cliff Richard's journey proves that fulfillment doesn't come from following the conventional paths of fame and romance. By choosing a life rooted in purpose, he created a legacy that extends far beyond his music. His story is one of patience, perseverance, and prioritization, teaching us that a life dedicated to faith, music, and meaningful relationships can offer profound satisfaction. Cliff's achievements, both personal and professional, reflect the enduring power of living with integrity, purpose, and love in all its forms.